G'day guys, and today we've got to expose a bit of hypocrisy within the media down here in Australia. So the issue in question is this front cover of the Sun Herald, which is an Australian newspaper, that caught my eye the other day. It was referring to the Melbourne Cup, specifically one of the Irish jockeys that is has a good chance of winning or something. I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with that aspect of Australian culture. The Melbourne Cup, horse racing in general, I just know nothing about. But obviously it caught my eye since it's a front cover and it's this intense caricature of an Irish person. So you got your Guinness, you got your leprechaun, midget, red nose, alcoholism, four-leaf clover, rainbow, you got everything there. And I was like, oh, who gives a fuck? It's an Irish midget, whatever, that's just the stereotype. But then I remembered a little while ago, the highly vilified cartoon of Serena Williams when she chucked her temper tantrum and was penalised within a tennis game. And there was an Australian cartoonist who made an image of that, of her stomping on her racket, and she was caricatured. She had the big lips and the big nose and other stereotypical features of a African American, and people lost their shit over that. People were up in arms, calling for this cartoonist to be fired, saying this was hate speech and it should be banned and things like that. Just to clarify, I don't actually give a shit about either caricature. Stereotyping black people, stereotyping Irish people, it doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the hypocrisy. The Australian media and various other social activists don't actually give a fuck if you satirise white people, or Irish people in this instance, because no one's kicking up a stink about this, but they certainly do care if you satirise a black person. So there's a clear double standard here. And this is something, wasn't treating people differently based on their race, isn't that the literal definition of racism? Or wasn't it? I swear the Google, at least the Google definition of racism got changed from an irrational prejudice based on skin colour alone. So just example, distrusting someone because of their skin colour, not because they're meant to be distrustful, they're lying or they're a thief or whatever. And I swear they changed it to believing one race is superior to another. So I'm not too sure about that, I can't remember for sure, but I was always... In my mind, the definition of racism was always an irrational prejudice based on skin colour. So if you have a rational prejudice, say, for example, the often touted, in the States, 13% of the population, 55% of the murders, that's totally rational prejudice because, it's based in reason and evidence. But even if we run off the newer definition, the idea that one race is superior to the other, isn't that what the mainstream media in Australia has at least implied or is implicitly admitting? You could construe that they're saying, Serena Williams, and as an extension, African-American population of America, is simply too fragile to handle a satirical cartoon, and they must be pandered to, and, you have to go after the artist and, attack free speech and things like that. But Irish people, no, they're strong enough. They don't need to be handheld. We have higher expectations for them. Are they saying that in the realm of being offended, Irish people are superior because they don't give a fuck? Or are they saying they're inferior because, we can shit on them and no one cares? It's a very interesting thing they seem to have done, at least in my view. It's clear the Sun Herald doesn't care who it makes fun of. It went out and defended the cartoonist who drew that image of Serena Williams, Mark Knight, I believe his name was. He came out with a front page thing talking about welcome to PC world, and there was a big no satire allowed, and it had the Serena Williams cartoon and a bunch of other crybabies and stuff like that. So the Sun Herald isn't in question here. It's all the media pundits and other outlets that, jump down the throat of Mark Knight, but total radio silence now. It doesn't even make the news. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments below. Do you believe the Australian media is implying that one race is superior to another, in that one can take criticism and one can't? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just a quick little video on the matter. Thanks all for sticking around, and have a good one.